Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the NGCOA Golf Business Live Tech Talks. I'm your host, Harvey Silverman. We've got a great show for you today, talking about what is one of the booming areas of golf, golf simulators. And with us today, we have the Chief Revenue Officer from aboutGOLF, a NGCOA Smart Buy program partner, Ken Reynolds. Ken, welcome to NGCOA Tech Talks.
Harvey, always a pleasure. Great to see you.
Great to see you too, and great to see what you have behind us. Behind you, are you going to demo that for us today, maybe? Or
I'll let her sit, but yeah, no, that's one of our AG curves in our showroom in upstate New York. So it is definitely an impressive platform and goes beyond immersiveness. So it's great.
Good, very good. Ken, give us a little intro on aboutGOLF. I was looking at your website and didn't realize that really the golf simulator software business started all the way back in 1992.
It did,
and has progressed to where we are now with simulators like yours and others with incredible graphics, and so. Give us a little intro into aboutGOLF and where the company is today.
Absolutely. No, we are definitely one of the pioneers of the industry. So as you say, software world started back in 92. We actually started as a golf software company. So we were making online golf play for Microsoft and other platforms as well. We were some of the first to do that. And then in the early 2000s, late 90s, we got a taste of the simulator world at a PGA show with one of the major retailers approaching us to say, hey, we want to use your software within a hitting bay. Is this something that we could do? And at the time, our founder said, yep, we'll figure it out. So we had our first tracking technology that we had utilized was a radar-based system, utilizing our software in the hitting bay. And then we had slowly realized that we kind of needed to make some improvements and make some changes to really help us get some measurement and improvement around the short game and also the spin factors of the ball. So that's when we kind of took the radar off the shelf and moved into the machine vision technology. So in the early 2000s, that's when we started to develop what we call 3-track, and that is our tracking technology that actually sits up in the ceiling. We're in probably our 9th iteration of it, but machine vision is where we really found the importance, and you're going to see that a lot in the industry now. A lot of other companies have started to follow in those steps of seeing the value behind, machine vision technology and camera based, where you can get measurements as opposed to just getting calculations. So aboutGOLF has always been a kind of a all-in-one solution. So we have a full design team, production facility. We're not just a software and technology company. We are a full customization provider. So we will customize everything in your commercial facilities, in your golf courses. Our design team will work with you to kind of build it in. If it's something where you want to do a seasonal freestanding enclosure, we'll customize that for you. But we've got that price point solution that it's not as, it still is the same experience with the tracking technology and the software, but you can get into it at an entry level price point in the in the high teens, all the way up to doing, as you see in back of me, the AG curve, which is, that's the ultimate experience and something that is very unique to aboutGOLF.
Great, that's interesting, because I've been going to the PGA show since the late 90s. I think I've only missed 2 since 1996 or 1997.
Mm-hmm.
One was because of COVID. And the simulator booths were readily seen and heard.
Right.
As people were testing them out. It was hard to miss them. And we'd walk around going, in early 2000s wondering, okay, the same companies are coming back year after year. How are they staying in business?
Right.
I mean, we were, and we knew, okay, so the PGA pros were putting them in large houses, and top 1%ers or 5%ers of income people could afford to put them into their homes or summer homes or whatever. But there wasn't the explosion that we're seeing now Certainly golf courses weren't installing them. So how big is the simulator market right now? And with that, what percentage of golf courses have simulators, and how many are installed at off-course facilities?
Sure. I don't have the hard numbers. That's actually data that a lot of the organizations are beginning to collect. As you know, the simulators, as you stated, they've been around for a while. The early onset of golf simulators, the first generation, were actually in the late '80s, which actually did a lot of when people were playing indoors with that type of technology, then they went outdoors. It actually did more damage to their game than it benefited. So the first generation of golf simulators was a tough go. With the advances of technology and whatnot, you're really starting to see people trust it. You're starting to see people believe in it. It's not just a video game. So there are some, entry level simulators, and that's great, that are just more for gaming and having a good time. But the simulators that are on the upper, in the upper caliber of the industry, you're seeing accuracies. You're seeing that addictive element of people wanting to come back. So the golf courses are starting to believe in it. They're really starting to see it as an additional revenue stream to keep them open year round. Indoor golf centers, that's how I got my start in this industry, was actually as an indoor golf center owner. Back in 2003, my wife and I started our first indoor golf center, which was in upstate New York with 5 simulators and a bar and grill. And then we started to expand into that. But the size of indoor golf centers were always like 2 to 4 simulators. Now you're seeing them 10, 15, 20 simulators. Mm-hmm. Some of them are open 24 hours. So the growth is there. The biggest restraint that we've always seen is space and obviously money. So they're not cheap if you want to do it right. But what we do on our end is we help understand what the ROI is on this. We also have programs, one that we call that's has been in the making for about 2 years, that we released last year. It's called Sim as a Service. And that is an all-in-one inclusive 3-year program that includes everything: your hardware, your software, all your balls, tees, hitting strips. So now you can put predictability behind, the dollars that these things are going to cost, and also what it's going to bring in. The tough thing with the simulators, when it comes down to just kind of on a maintenance level, everything is consumable. That big screen you see in back of me, the projector, the computer, the turf, all of it is consumable. The more it gets used, the more it gets beaten up. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to replace stuff. So the Sim as a Service program allows you, it's kind of that worry-free subscription of, all right, this is what the simulator cost me a month. Now I know exactly, and now I can really put predictability behind expansions, renovations, stuff like that. So the industry itself is, and I've been in it for over 20 years, I still think it's in its infancy. It's now really starting to hit the boom. The popularity of indoor golf, the limited play outdoor that people are starting to see, the simulator play is really starting to increase at an unbelievable rate. And you're seeing that from the numbers through, the NGF and all of that. So we're really starting to see golf courses, and with the seasonality, now it's allowing them to stay open year round. Mm-hmm. They're not having to float around and find different staff every season. They now have a year-round revenue stream for their facility. And golf courses are really starting to see the value in renovations. They're starting to see the value in staying open year-round to keep their members, engaged.
Sure. So Sim as a Service, is that like a lease program? You said a monthly subscription?
Yeah, pretty much like if you were to compare it to anything, it's very similar to what the cart companies do, a lot of the equipment companies. It's a 3-year subscription, very similar to like a lease to own. It's a worry-free lease to own if you were to compare it to anything that, and at the end of the 3 years, we come in and we'll take a look at the facility and kind of make a decision with the facility owner of all right, let's come in and do a complete overhaul on this and get you into a new program, or we give you options on how you want to move forward. So the main thing that always happens that we see is at the end of a season, people go into, if it's a golf course, they go into they go outside, and then they kind of forget about the simulators until it's time to come back in, and they realize, wow, we've got some updates we have to do. We have to do screens, we have to do mats, and those things add up. So
Sure.
the sim as a service was, all right, we're just going to bundle everything together. It's not an additional fee. It's just, we have bundled this program together. It also includes all of our commercial business tools that we have. So we have, assets beyond the simulator to help you run your business, from online tee times to POS integration to facility management to data analytics. You can manage the simulators remotely through this software that we call Clubhouse, and Clubhouse will integrate within the simulators to do sim management, online tee times, marketing hubs, all of that stuff, customer communication as well. So the sim as a service is that kind of worry-free program, is how we've put it.
Oh, that's fascinating. I hadn't heard of that doing my research. One of the little pieces I learned in my research, and you can pull this up on Google or Chat GPT or whatever, there's about 15 simulator companies operating or marketing in the US, which to me, is kind of a sign that there has to be some consolidation at some point. There just isn't that massive of a market to allow 15 simulator companies to all survive profitably.
Right.
How do you see that? Is that something that's inevitable? Are you looking at purchases of other simulator companies to kind of consolidate and gain market share? Give us kind of the macro view of where the simulator business is in the United States.
No, absolutely, and you're spot on. And this is the largest that the market has been, and I'm sure that walking the PGA show this year, everybody kind of said it like, wow, this is a golf simulator show. This is a golf technology show.
Mm-hmm.
It really has taken a shift away from merchandise and soft goods to being a golf technology show. We've always seen simulator companies come and go. Obviously, we've been one of the long-standing companies that have been at it for a very long time. But I wouldn't doubt that you begin to see a consolidation. We're always looking around to kind of see what others are doing, how we could potentially work together. The market can only be so big. And,
Right.
we definitely see that now. We have been keeping an eye on it and just making sure that we have those, the differentiators that we need to, keep doing what we're doing. And, there are companies that are, just global companies that are also coming into the States as well. It is a very big market. Over in the Asian market, it is enormous, and it's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't doubt that you begin to see a consolidation. I wouldn't doubt that you really begin to see third-party companies do, kind of that indoor golf simulator advice management, very similar to NGCOA, but for the indoor golf world.
Mm-hmm.
It is a huge industry. So I don't think it will ever become separate from the outdoor game. I think they'll always overlap, but just the different ways that, just like outdoors, there's things that you can only do outdoors. Well, there's things that you can only do indoors. So I wouldn't doubt that you begin to really see a focus on the indoor golf market, whether it's through manufacturers, whether it's through, third-party companies as well on advisement boards. But there will need to be a consolidation coming down the line. There's only so much room.
Right.
There's only so much, there's a cap to the industry. And,
Right.
We are definitely keeping a very close eye on it and kind of understanding where everybody sits, what people are doing differently, and kind of where we sit within the market as well.
So I think probably the first time I played on a simulator was at this little place in Vail, Colorado. And this had to be back in the early 90s. I had family there. We were visiting. and my brother took me over to this place and said, "Hey, you got to check this out. It's really kind of cool." And I may have played on one other since then. And one of the things, okay, great. I was hitting drivers and irons and things like that. But what was missing to me was the chipping and putting.
Yep.
So where has About Golf progressed with being able to accurately and visually be able to accommodate that part of the game? Other than
Sure.
the long game, what's happening with the short game, particularly the putting?
Right. So that was one of the big reasons we made the change back in the early 2000s, is to get away from our original tracking technology, which was radar based, and get to the 3-track system. The short game, it's where you spend most of your time during the round. So we wanted to get it as accurate as possible. So with our system, we do take pride in our short game. We take pride in our putting, because you can hit any shot. We're measuring everything right at the heart of the shot. So whether it's a 1-inch putt, now going from the 3D to the 2D flat screen world is something that definitely takes getting used to. But the way that we've translated this is everything is really based on distances. And so outdoors, when you're playing your short game, if you're call it 30 yards, or shy, you're not really thinking, all right, I'm 25 yards away. Here's my 25-yard chip shot. It's I'm hitting out of here and I'm going over there. This is probably what I need to punch it at. But indoors, what we want people to really understand are distances. They're short game distances. So the way that I've taken my golf game and brought it outdoors is I am now, if I'm on the fringe, or if I'm chipping or putting, I'll be outdoors and say, all right, well, I'm probably 15 yards away. Here's my indoor 15-yard punch shot. Now I need to take Mother Nature into account, and I'll get the results I hopefully want. But the short game is something that we take pride in. It's one of the things that and honestly, the easiest thing to track is the long game. When you're looking at tracking technologies and stuff like that, the things that we do different within the About Golf system is how we measure our spin and how we produce our short game. So, you'll talk to companies, some of the major manufacturers and some of the influencers. The one thing that they love about us is our measurement of side spin. Now we measure, the back spin, we measure the side spin, and we also measure the rifle spin of the ball. But the side spin is something that they definitely see a big difference with our system, that in comparison to what's out there. We're not having to guesstimate. We're accurately measuring, the results of that shot right from the heart of it. So the short game is something we'll always continue to improve. But it's something that we definitely take pride in. You always have the different surfaces. Now your sand shots, that's something that we've always played around with. All right, what type of material will last indoors without having to actually hit out of a bunker? So we're always doing different testing on that. That's something that we really can't replicate indoors without making a mess. So we've kind of left that to the outdoor world. But your chip shots, your punch shots, your putting is something that we want people to putt out. We don't want people to take advantage of gimme ranges or anything like that. We want it to go in the jar.
And they're putting on the same surface that they're hitting off of on their long shots, right?
There's different surfaces that you can hit from. So you do have, your fairway, which it still has a cushion to it. So it's not, too rough on the shoulders or anything, but you are hitting in that same general area. And it is a putting type of surface that, our mats that you see here will roll at around 11 stimp. So we try to replicate that within the golf game as well.
Okay. So, and what you're telling me is, with your system moving from radar to what you have now, that's enabled you to better ensure both accuracy and realism in the simulator graphics that you're showing.
Correct. Yep. So the results that when we go from the real world to the virtual world, we need to take that information very quickly and translate it, because our game will take there's flight physics, there's dynamic physics, and there's landing physics that our team takes into account. The flight physics of, obviously the ball flying through the air. The dynamic physics is, okay, how many branches is this going to hit? All the leaves, the bushes, the blades of grass, and then what's it going to do on the landing? How much spin is incorporated into that ball if you're playing a kickback on the green? So there's definitely a lot that goes into it in a matter of a split second that our team has to, really take apart. But the difference between our original technology and radar and where we are and where we're going is the reliability of the system, the reliability of the data, and the luxury of being able to measure and not have to calculate the results, because we can actually measure the ball spin, the trajectory, the club, and all of that. Where a lot of times other systems, they're calculating it based on an algorithm.
Okay, so this came up with a couple members and a discussion I had with somebody yesterday. There appears to be kind of I don't know if I call it underground, but there's an internet community of people who are digitizing golf courses. Some they're creating on their own, some they're digitizing by being able to get aerial views from Google Maps and so on.
Yep.
And doing this in a way without the golf course owner's permission or knowledge.
Correct.
And that concerns me, and that should concern our members as well. How does aboutGOLF obtain a course's permission and then go about adding the course to your portfolio?
So the one thing that we've always done is we play by the rules. We want to respect the people that own the data. We want to respect the people that own the courses. We do not replicate courses without permission. So all of our courses that you'll see in our library, some we have created on our own, some that we call our fantasy courses that our team has just gone and have fun with, but it's not based off of a real track or replicating any sort of topography that's already out there. Anything that has a name to it that is a real course, we have been given permission, or they've hired us to do it. We would have golf courses that they want to put a couple simulators in their facility, but they also want to have their own golf course on the simulator. Sahali is one of them. We have the courses of Sahali. So, but all of our named courses that all of our Ryder Cup courses, we pay a royalty, we pay a licensing. We don't pay anything that's astronomical where it causes problems with our end users or anything like that. But everything is done by the book, because we've never wanted to do something without the permission, because we always know that there's it's not going to end well. So with this whole thing that's going on right now, I'm not sure how it's going to end, but it is, I'm very curious. I've been keeping a close eye on it, because we have a golf center that is in town that, hey, they replicated the country club down the road. And it's like, well, that was a Donald Ross course where, anytime we do a Donald Ross or a Pete Dot, like we pay them, and then we also pay the course. Everybody has a business to run, and we respect that. So we try to behave. We've got over 95 courses that are in our library and more to come, but everything you see has been done with permission.
Okay. No, I expected that, and maybe you and I can talk offline, because this might be something I want to research and potentially write about. I just became aware of it, and I mean, there's all sorts of nefarious stuff going on the internet that nobody would know of unless it, pops up and bites them in the ass, and that's potentially happening with one of my clients. So what are you seeing as some of the emerging trends in the simulator business? I know that we're seeing more installed at people's homes. We're seeing more outlets, X Golf and 5-Iron Golf and other outlets opening up around the country.
Yep.
But that's that's a trend. We'll see how long that lasts, obviously,
Correct.
and whether it will take away from green grass golf. Right now there's no verified connection between Top Golf and green grass golf. It's two totally different experiences.
Correct.
So where are you seeing the emerging trends and developments in the simulator business?
I still think the simulator industry still has a great deal of respect for the green grass industry. So a lot of our clients, and I can't speak for everybody that's out there, but I know a lot of our clients, they're working very, very closely with their green grass facilities, whether it's on a partnership level, whether it's on a promotional level, but they are not there to be a replacement, but merely an alternative when you can't be outside doing the real thing. So if tee times aren't available, even in the summertime, we're really starting to see usage increase. And that's becoming.
As the summer heats up, it was 113 degrees yesterday in Las Vegas. There's nobody outside playing golf, but if there's simulators, I would expect that might be a place where somebody who really needs to get their golf fix in can do that in a much cooler atmosphere.
No, exactly. And the presence of simulators down in the lower states, the warmer states, wasn't really a thing, but now it is, because of that fact alone, is that there are days where it's just oppressive when you can't get outside. But the usage, the summertime usage, the fair weather usage, we're starting to see an increase, but not necessarily because they don't want to play outside. It's because, all right, well, it's evening and we're going to go inside, play a quick 9 or do a par 3 challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Other stuff, the amount of facilities that are promoting the alternative play. Now, you're still seeing your golf game. You can still see improvement, but it's not necessarily playing 9 or 18 or hitting the driving range, but it's the gamification that we've been able to create. You might go play darts or beer pong or cornhole, and you're chipping or you're putting. So it's just fun alternative ways, and it's been an amazing route for new golfers, young golfers to come in. The intimidation is not there of the course, but my son and my daughter come in here all the time, and they're coming in to play cornhole, beer pong, darts, mini golf courses. They're playing a lot of the challenge games. But now when they go outside to play, my son is 18 and he has the bug like nobody I've ever seen. But my daughter is, she's 15. And she doesn't really, the 9 or 18 doesn't interest her yet, but it's now starting to. So where the trends are going, it's going beyond the 9 or 18 formats. It's having fun with it. It's still being able to work on your game, but just in a different way, something that's a shorter format. And it's honestly great for indoor golf centers, because when you invite a foursome in to play 18 holes, that's 4 people at that simulator for 4 hours. Now, that's a lot of time for one table to be eaten up for just 4 people. So a lot of golf centers are starting to look at the alternative ways to play, to say, all right, let's bring a foursome in for an hour. So then you get another foursome in for another hour and another hour. But they're not playing a golf course per se, but they're playing a game where there's results and there's a winner, there's a loser. They've high-fived and they can leave. So it's the time investment that it takes to play 4 hours, play 18 holes. A lot of golf centers are starting to look at this in a different way, to say, all right, how can I get more bodies? Same thing with golf courses. How can I get more bodies through this table? No different than a restaurant would want you to do. Sure. But you're not pressuring them. If 4 people were to come in and play for an hour, well, they're going to get like 6 holes done. Well, what's the point of that? There's no finish line.
Yeah.
So with the alternative play that we're starting to create with games and contests and challenges, it's very similar to what Topgolf has done. They're creating an environment it's the gamification of golf that can bring people in different ways beyond just the 9 or 18. Now, the 9 and 18 and driving ranges will always be the most popular type of play in the simulators. But during the summer months, just to come in and just hit some balls with some friends or family and, have a bite and, have a drink, great. There's different ways that you can do it. So you're going to start to see a lot of those trends increase, because it's getting them just to try new things and come back and do different things within your facility.
Okay, I've got one more question, and I hate to cut this short because it's really fascinating. But our producer has a tea time at Quail Hollow, so we can't. We
It
just
does.
don't want him to be late. Certainly don't want him to be late for that. Um, First I'll mention that there is a white paper coming out from NGCOA about
Yep.
golf simulators, kind of going through the nuts and bolts of what to consider and how they're installed and things like that.
Yep.
And I know that you contributed to that as well, but as a NGCOA Smart Buy partner, what can a member expect when inquiring about your simulators and their business?
So with About Golf, the thing that you're going to get is as I say, we're a fully customized product, and it goes beyond just the simulator. But we will also sit down and look at your business model. We'll sit down and look at revenue streams. We've been in it for a long time. We don't have all the answers, but for consulting with some ideas and throwing out different ideas on how some of the best practices that we've been in it for probably the longest. So we have a lot of tribal knowledge that we can share. We love to share. I share my war stories of when I first got going. I thought I was creating Mick Golf and just going to be franchising this thing. Well, the first summer after we opened, my wife and I were eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because we had to change our business model quickly. And so there's a lot of living and learning that goes on with this. But now that the industry has been around for so long, there's a lot of people that you can take advantage of. So, but with About Golf, we're a one-stop shop on it all. So our design team, our production team, our install team, even everything you see is homegrown in our facility in Ohio. So from our tracking technology, from our software development, we're very unique on that, is that we do everything in-house, so that once it's installed, your in-house resource, your customer success manager, has access to everybody they need to help you. There's technology, there's a lot of moving parts to these things. They break, but we don't want to see you down. So our team is always there. You're not having to call foreign countries to get assistance or anything like that. Everything is right here. So with the NGCOA, that partnership has been amazing. We do NGCOA specials all the time, and we have some fun with them. But an amazing organization that we're really starting to see the indoor portion come into play, because it's still in its infancy, and there's a lot that can be brought to the golf courses and to all the private and public courses that can benefit and really help the revenues.
Got it. Ken, this has been great. I wish we had more time, but Harry's already got his clubs, bag on his shoulder, ready to get out the door. And
good for him.
But we will see you at MCOR.
Yep.
In the end of July. I'll be down there as well. Look forward to meeting you. And
that's great.
Like I said, I have some more questions that we can maybe discuss offline that might end up being an article that I can write, because
that'd be great.
I'm concerned about this underground thing, and
no doubt,
and making sure that our members understand what might be happening to their golf course that they don't even know about. So
correct.
That kind of freaked me out. Ken Reynolds, Chief Revenue Officer from About Golf. Thank you very much. This has been enlightening, and certainly something that NGCOA members watching will get them a little bit more curious about contacting you or seeing you at one of the shows, and seeing where simulators fit in their business. Thank you very much.
Harvey, always a pleasure. Can't thank you enough.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a great day.